Zuko is a tragic character who has had a redemption arc that you rarely see in media. He has had to grow up fast. He had to abandon and rethink his idea of what the world was. At the beginning of the series, he thought the world was black and white, that there were good people and bad people. He also had a preconceived notion that he had to regain the honor he lost by capturing the Avatar. But as the series goes on, Zuko learns that the Fire Nation isn't what he was told it was. He learns that people hate him strictly because he is from the Fire Nation. He also learns that he and everybody else deserves that hate for the destruction they have brought around the world. Zuko always had someone on his side to steer him in the right direction. It may have taken Zuko a while to learn, but with the help of Iroh, Zuko was able to get on the right path to fulfill his destiny. Zuko's journey was a hard one, wrought with struggles and backwards movement, but he eventually found where he needed to be and helped to save the world. It is time to talk about Zuko and his hard life that led him to helping the Avatar. At the beginning, we see Zuko start off with a loving mother who cares for him and tries to put him on the right path, and a father who hates his guts for not being as talented and evil as his sister. As the years go by, Zuko forms a very close connection to his mother. This connection is something where he bases all of his ideals off of. He is a kind and gentle soul who just wants to be loved. But after the loss of his mother, Zuko finds himself stuck in a family of people who don't care about him. And eventually his idea of the world gets warped after being scarred and banished by his father for just speaking up in a war meeting. Zuko shifts from this kind, loving boy to a cold-hearted, ruthless individual that his father wanted him to be. At the start of the series, we see Zuko is this broken individual. He has a severe temper and can't trust anybody. He takes his anger out by screaming at them and sometimes attacking them even harder than normal if he was in a training session. However, despite Zuko's anger, he shows true compassion multiple times throughout the beginning of the story, which makes him a very human character and allows you to understand his motives for chasing the Avatar. Zuko's anger is caused by his inability to be himself after the loss of his mother. Zuko had to deal with a lot as he was the crown prince that his father never wanted. Zuko hates himself for being weak and talentless. He hates himself for not having the heart to fight his father and be ruthless. Zuko thinks that in order for him to regain what he lost, he has to chase the Avatar and capture him at all costs. Zuko has a lot of trauma from his childhood. He lost the only person he was close to as a kid, he got scarred and banished just for trying to be a good person, and who knows what other kind of stuff that happened that we never got to see. Zuko always had somebody by his side to help him through life. If Zuko didn't have Iroh, he would probably be in an even worse position than we see Azula at the end of the series. Zuko bottled all of his trauma up and never really spoke about it. He just stayed quiet until he was forced to face his traumas head on during the beach. He finally opened up and let himself let go of what was holding him back. It was after this episode that Zuko realized what he needed to do. Zuko is a complicated person who struggled to open up to people, which made him struggle to form meaningful relationships with people, but after a while he was finally able to truly be himself around people who cared for him after confronting his past and his source of trauma. When Zuko was training with Iroh, he struggles to learn how to lightning bend due to all the shame he feels for himself. Zuko had to confront this part of himself and learn to become a better and more humble person. But he struggles to do this throughout the remainder of the show, and to this day, we have yet to see him actually bend lightning. Zuko feels shame because where he is in relation to where he was born. Zuko thinks he is destined for greatness, but by book 2, he is on the run from the Fire Nation and living the life of a wandering refugee. Zuko believes if he can get stronger and capture the Avatar, he might just be able to get back to his life in the Fire Nation. He also struggles to learn why he feels this way. In the scene where he tries to bend lightning for the first time, he states that he is as proud as ever, not realizing that his pride is what is causing his shame. He needs to be more humble and realize that he can't do everything on his own, and he needs to learn to accept what life has thrown at him in order for him to achieve what he knows he can. Zuko learning to be humble throughout the series is a struggle. He always saw himself as the crown prince of the Fire Nation, someone who deserved to have the throne. But as he goes through the series and struggles and runs and hides, he eventually starts to think that maybe just a nice quiet life with his uncle is all that he needs to be happy. But of course, fate had other plans. I like how Zuko's journey isn't linear. He has setbacks that make his journey way better, but those setbacks also prevented him from learning true humility and being happy being who he wants to be. But once he made it back, he was already a completely different man than when we saw him in book 1. Even in the Fire Nation, he is kinder to people, more humble, and wasn't happy. So his uncle had an impact, but his journey wasn't complete just yet. All the struggles Zuko went through forced him to grow into a better version of himself. He was able to go at the beginning of the series being a ruthless, angry, cold-hearted person on the outside, to finally being able to be himself and be the kind, loving person he always was. Zuko's journey is one of acceptance. It is a journey to discover who he was always meant to be. Zuko's story is one of the best written in all of fiction. There is a reason why he has so many videos on his journey, including this one, because it left an impact on so many people and will continue to do so for a long time.